Hello, my loves. I'm Ellie Frost. Thank you so much for being on my channel, where we are talking about the multi-dimensional approach to rapidly and radically healing and transforming during and after narcissistic abuse. And I wanted to talk today about the difference between a toxic relationship dynamic and being with a narcissist, because this is a big deal, right? And most of us, I think, want healthy relationships, especially with the people we love. We want to learn better skills, emotional intelligence, how to communicate. I think I should do more on that, to be honest, because that's what we really want, is really fulfilling relationships and to be our best in relationships, right? So the biggest thing, one is the narcissist goes through a complete sequence. That sequence will not change. How they do that sequence and execute it will. So some people will have nuances where the narcissist won't do the exact same behaviors as another narcissist, but the sequence will be the same. And the majority of the relationship, once you've got through the love bombing and the rehoovering, will be about devaluation, invalidating you, devaluing you, and these constant discards, or minor discards until a big discard, which might never come. You can go decades without a full discard. But a discard is like when someone ignores you, right? Just completely drops you. It doesn't have to be permanently for good. So the devaluing and discard is going to be the main meat of the relationship. But a toxic dynamic, there's so much to say on this, right, for us, because like I've talked to you before, you pick up toxic traits to survive these dynamics. There's no doubt about it. You don't know how to create healthy relationships. I do believe you know how to love, because I think that's innate in human beings. Like, we know how to love. You're not going to have a problem loving again. But being healthy in relationships, knowing how to deal with your triggers and knowing how to communicate in good ways and share your feelings and be authentic and know what's yours and what's not, so that you don't project your emotions, things that you should be regulating, so that you can have good conversations with people, but also what's theirs and you're not taking over responsibility. If we're the chronic people pleaser, which I was for a long time, we'll take over responsibility for everything that's done to us, and that's not healthy either. The biggest distinction, apart from seeing that these narcissists operate in exactly the same way, from the same consciousness, is a distortion like a computer virus, but is that they will not change. In another relationship dynamic, if you work on you, your emotional intelligence, your communication, your relationship skills, processing your emotions, handling your triggers, knowing how to set boundaries, all that kind of thing, the other person will change around you. I've taught this in teams in business, because the only person we can change in ourselves. It's the reason why I think I have spoken before about how I'd done so much work in personal development and trained and coached people for years, right? And what I couldn't understand is why it wasn't working for me. Manifestation wasn't working because I didn't understand trauma. And when you've got trauma in your energy fields, you are not able to manifest in the same way. Because the trauma, whether you're aware of it or not, is the dominant vibration in your energy field, which is where your actual manifestations are coming from, not just your thoughts and emotions. And two, I'd studied personal development for years. So I knew that the skills I knew from personal development worked against me, because personal development will teach you how to change yourself to improve the relationship, right? Which will work with every other human being but a narcissist, or most others. A highly toxic person, if they're close to a narcissist, it depends how toxic they are, but those skills won't work on them, because they don't want the same thing, you see. Their goal isn't resolution, harmony, and a stronger, better relationship. So you'll know, because the relationship will never grow. It will never, ever grow. And it doesn't, and in a highly toxic one, it will never grow. It won't matter how much you're willing to change it. The other person does not want it to change. And that is mind-blowing. Because you think, well, how can they want to live in this conflict? How can they want to live in this feeling of uncertainty and walking on eggshells and this lack of connection between us? But they don't feel about it the same way you do, right? If you're wanting a healthy relationship, you want intimacy, you want connection, you want partnership, you want solidarity, you want understanding, you want empathy, and they don't want it. They're very comfortable in the conflict, chaos and drama. So if you're dealing with a narcissist, it's dangerous to your emotional health, spiritual health, your life purpose, your soul purpose. And that's something you've got to think about, not being with. If you're in a toxic dynamic, if the person wants to grow, they will grow, but you'll know very soon whether they do or not. None of these dynamics are healthy for us, right? And there's no way you don't get distorted yourself. So we have to come back into understanding, like, what's a healthy relationship? Well, one where we are both seen, heard, validated, recognized, and kind of held in our experience. So a lot of people will approach, say, therapy as a way of fixing the other person, like, because we're trying to control how the other person feels, right? And that's not healthy. We want a self-partner, learn self-partner, like I teach you first. And then if you're in a relationship, we want to be able to unite and partner with someone in their experience, right? Be someone who can be intimate with someone with what they're going through, but also have boundaries, standards, and make sure that our needs are getting met. So it's kind of complicated. I'll give you an example, right? In a healthy dynamic, say it's a healthy relationship with a couple, but say one of the partners has an affair and that partner comes back, say, I don't know if it should be the male or the female. I don't want to say one or the other because you'll think well, you won't think it. I don't know if I should say maybe it should be a same-sex relationship so that no one thinks I'm thinking one or the other is more of a cheater. It's not about that. I'll say the man cheats because I'm a woman, right? So I can say it from my point of view. So say it's my partner and he has an affair, right? And he comes back to the relationship, he tells me about the affair, and I'm heartbroken about it. But he's not a narcissist. I'm doing this in a healthy context, right? Of what it looks like, what we're actually working on in healthy relationships. So obviously, like, I'm going to be hurt about that. I imagine I would personally be very hurt. So for me personally, my standard is monogamy. So for me personally, I'm going to say it from my point of view, I would be very hurt about that. And I would have to decide whether or not I wanted to continue the relationship. This is with a healthy person, not a narcissist. These tools do not work on narcissists. Follow every other video, but when I'm talking about healthy relationships, because if I know a lot of us think, I can get the narcissist to change. And if it's a narcissist, you will find out over and over again that you can't. But anyway, even if you see little bits of change, I promise you, it doesn't get better over time. Anyway, so say I think about it and I'm hurt and I decide I want to carry on the relationship because I love my partner and I don't want to actually lose him over it, although it was my boundary, right? So this is already an area of confusion because my deal breaker is monogamy. But now I'm in a different situation because in the actual experience, I'm realizing that I don't want to lose him, even though he's crossed a boundary. So the boundary, say I decide to stay, but I realize I'm going to have to work on my emotions around it with him because obviously I feel like I can't trust him. This might bring up bad behavior in the relationship. I might feel very jumpy, try and control him, try not want him to go out, try and put all these different rules, which is not fair on someone. It's not fair, by the way. It's understandable, but it's still not fair if I start now really acting like a parent and controlling every move and reading his phone all the time because I can't trust him. It might be part of the process that we agree to do together, but it's not going to be very healthy, right? But the trust isn't there. So we're both aware the trust isn't there. And we're both aware that I'm triggered and I might start doing things or asking for things that are controlling and are not good in the relationship. But we might be prepared to work through it, right? If we go to therapy, what both people have to understand is that the therapy isn't to fix my emotion. The therapy is to bring us together and help him hold me in my emotion and process of going through it. None of us know if I'm going to get over this. That's the truth of it. That's what we've got to understand in relationships. It's not, I need to take my partner to therapy because I had an affair with my wife or my girlfriend, and now I want her to feel like she can trust me. He might feel like he wants me to trust him, but he can't force that process. That is something that I may or may not be able to get to. So our goal is that we love each other and we trust each other again. Clearly we love each other because we've stayed together. But like, it's a journey of he's going to have to partner with me to help me work on it, and I'm going to have to take responsibility for the fact that I have chosen to allow that boundary to be crossed and take him back. So I can't spend the rest of my time punishing him for what I'm consenting to. I've got to work on myself. I've got to heal myself. I've got to heal my wounds about it, allow my emotions to process and see how I can navigate it. Now, one or two things could happen. I may be able to heal and trust him and build a brilliant relationship. Maybe we get years down the line and I still can't get over it. What I'm not allowed to do if I've accepted him back, this is emotional intelligence, is every time we have an argument, throw it in his face. It's because I don't trust you. It's because you had an affair. We know that, right? And that has to be handled separately. So if he's done something else, I can't keep throwing in his face the thing that I've chosen to accept him back for. And what I can do is communicate with him about how I'm having trouble with intimacy, if I am, how I'm having trouble just generally, how I'm feeling anxious, how I'm struggling with being in the dynamic after what's been done. Right? But punishing him, controlling him, this isn't a healthy thing to rebuild from. This is just a response to, I'm not healed yet, right? And how I heal is going to be independent to every single human. But what I can't do is use it against him every time. What I can't do is now try and control him. If I'm staying in the relationship, I'm choosing to stay, I may put in new standards. I may say, look, no going out with your friends for now. I may say, you need to be home on time, right? So yes, that's there's a way of doing it where it's kind of like, can we agree a standard just for the meantime? We're going to review it when I feel a bit better, but for now, I need to just have you, but not controlling him, not like, where have you been, what are you doing? We have to agree clear things that we both agree to, and he can't, you know what I mean? It's got to be both things that we agree to that we think would be healthy for us, just for the meantime while we try and rebuild this. And then to work towards complete freedom in the relationship again, trusting each other and allowing us to have our lives together and our separate lives and to rebuild it. So we have to agree this as we go. It's a relationship, it's a partnership, but it's not a place to punish and control. We can't keep bringing up. It's not to ignore the past because it's not the past. My feelings about it are not the past. I still feel betrayed, right? But I have to learn how to take responsibility for my emotions and the decision I've decided to take him back, right? This is in a healthy relationship, not with a narcissist. So it may work out and we might build up trust, we might have a better relationship than ever. That is one scenario that is very possible. Another scenario is it gets years down the line, I can never get over it. I've turned into someone who's very controlling. I can never fully trust him. I don't feel good. We're not connecting. I don't trust him intimately. It hasn't worked. And in which case, we'd sit down, a healthy couple would say, look, do you think we've tried enough? Because I've tried to get over it, but I haven't been able to. I just can't. And our relationship is impaired because of it. And so I know we're not living in the relationship we could be having. It's still on for a long time now, but I can't be with you in the same way that I was, and I don't think that I'm going to get there. Maybe it is better for us to break up. You've got to take responsibility and communicate. That's what it looks like. It does not look like, I need to fix your feelings. It looks like, let's stay together and connected through this, which means there's a possibility that we'll get through it and there's a possibility that we won't, but we'll connect throughout it, right? So it's not about controlling how someone feels. You can't do that in this universe. You can just control how you feel to some extent and honour how you feel to another extent. Control how you feel in terms of work on your healing, right? But then you can't deny your truth. And your truth at the end of that might be, I can't trust you again. I will never get over it. I've realised that actually I love you, but this was too much. It actually broke us. And it broke the trust for me in such a way that I can't feel the same way again. And we've tried, but it doesn't work for me, right? That's the truth, right? So you can't control the truth of how you feel, but you can control like your outbursts and how you respond to how you feel, I guess is what I'm saying. But you can control your dedication to processing, and then you've got to honour the truth, right? That's what it looks like in a healthy situation. In a narcissistically abusive situation, they don't care in terms of, they don't care about you in the same way. So they're not honouring your feelings. In fact, they're living off your pain. If he has an affair, he'll want you to find out whether it looks sneaky or not. They are the biggest schemers on the planet, by the way. They will go out, pretend to be doing something else, come back, give you a little gift, and they'd have been doing something very untoward all day. They love knowing, oh God, I've heard some of them speak. The way that they get away with things behind the scenes would blow your mind, right? People think, oh no, it was just one thing. If it's a narcissist, and then they wonder how they get with the next person so quickly. They have things lined up that you wouldn't believe. There's no truth, there's no honesty, there's no wanting to partner with you. There's just wanting their own way and power control. And they love that you are jealous. They love that they can project onto you negative emotions that take you out of yourself. You will never have the level of intimacy, partnership, which does not mean, partnership does not mean I'm going to get you to feel how I want you to feel, like I just described. It means we're together along this journey and we're deciding and agreeing along the way where we are with it. Narcissists will never do that with you, ever. And if they've had an affair or crossed your boundaries, that's just part of the game. And now, for them, it's a green light to do it again. You've accepted it. Rather than understanding that you have accepted it, but it's on a decision to try and heal from it with them and try again. A narcissist just sees it as a green light to erode your boundaries forever. They will throw it in your face that you've accepted it and it doesn't matter because now you're desensitized to it. Now you've accepted less behavior. They will not want to work with you and grow through it in the same way. And they certainly won't respect your process in it. And if they do go to therapy, they play the victim, they fake the therapist, and they'll want you to fix your feelings. Your feelings about it, your sorrow, your pain, your betrayal will be your fault, not theirs. That's how it is with a narcissist. In some way, you'll feel like guilty and ashamed that you can't get over it. Not being honoured and respected in your emotional process through it. So I hope that makes some sense. But if you're consistently in toxic dynamics, there's definitely healing to do for ourselves. We've got to have self-awareness, right? And knowing that in these moments you do pick up toxic traits, whether you like it or not. That's why I talk about the people pleasing. Sometimes we come out of people pleasing and we think we're standing up for ourselves, but actually we're kind of fighting drama with drama. You know, sometimes that's part of our progress in a way, but it's still not healthy. We haven't gone to being able to actually emotional process and set boundaries that matter. Boundaries that matter are deal breakers. They're force fields. They're things that you can't go here with me, and people know it. They don't dare because they know they'll lose the relationship. And if there's someone who doesn't care about losing the relationship with you, they should not be in it with you. People that can't respect your boundaries, don't care about how you feel, you shouldn't be in relationship with. They don't care about you. And it's dangerous, right, at that point. So we've got to have new standards of who we want to be around. Now, they haven't got to make you number one if it's a friend, but there has to be a standard for relationships that you decide on and that you are a great counterpart of, by the way. You know, if I want the best boyfriend, I've got to be the best girlfriend. If I want the best husband, I've got to work on being the best wife with a healthy person. With a narcissist, your efforts are wasted and will be used against you. This is a warning, but it's the truth. When you want to form healthy things, you're going to have things to learn. You're going to have things to learn because you haven't learned it yet, but you're more than capable of loving someone, right? You've just got to understand how to create something beautiful. And that will start with you being self-aware and being the best you can be in a healthy situation with very clearly communicated standards and boundaries so that there's no resentment, there's no undercurrent. You are clear about what you'll accept, what you won't accept, what's okay with you, what isn't. Lots of love, guys. I'll speak to you soon.